Hello, guys, and welcome back. If you like the stories I bring and the questions the mainstream media refuses to ask, make sure you subscribe, share, and follow Barbie Unfiltered everywhere, including socials and Substack. Today, we're heading to Chicago, South Side, more specifically, South Shore. We're talking about the grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center. The media wants you to see inspiration, celebrity appearance, political speeches. I see something very different. For starters, I see hypocrisy. I see what looks like a giant milk carton sitting on a land that once belonged to the people of Chicago. Indeed, stolen land. I see Democrats, politicians congratulating each other while ordinary people struggle to pay the bills. I see a city spending an entire weekend celebrating a monument to a former president while families were mourning victims of violence. During that same weekend, Chicago experienced another wave of shootings. It's become so natural that we hear it every day. I think we're immune to it already. 7 people were killed, dozens more were wounded. One victim was a 27-year-old man riding his bicycle near Grant Park who later died from his injuries. He never made it home. Then during the opening weekend and the Juneteenth holiday, Chicago experienced another wave of deadly shootings. But that was not what dominated the headlines. The headlines were about the opening ceremony, the speeches, the celebrities, the political elites. And that's where I start asking questions. For years, residents living around this project warned about rising property values, higher taxes, higher rents, and the possibility that longtime residents will eventually be pushed out of the neighborhoods with their families that helped build that neighborhood. Were those concerns justified? Because many residents believe it's already happening. Who benefited financially from this project? Who paid the price? The locals. This project was promoted as an opportunity for minority-owned businesses and local participation, yet reports surfaced from subcontractors claiming they are still fighting over millions of dollars in disputed payments. Hold on, I'm going to show you something. So let's start here.
South Side for the dedication of the Obama Presidential Center. After years of delays in a ballooning budget, the $850 million project is now open to the public.
Hypocrisy.
Instead of celebrating, though, some of the folks who helped build the center are protesting.
Justice for the Obama builders.
At least 10 construction firms involved in the project claim they're still owed $100 million for the work they did. Not from the Obama Foundation, but from Lakeside Alliance, the construction management group overseeing the sprawling development.
And this project supposed to be a project of dignity, and it's a project of shame to us as contractors,
Well, there you have it. So, with that being said, let's get back to it. So, again, they tell you one thing and do another. So, what are we supposed to think? Who got paid? Who didn't? And weren't these people blacks? Can you imagine if Trump had done that? The news cycle would never stop. Who is responsible? We know. Just connect the dots. Those are questions worth asking. But before we talk about the Obama Center itself, I want to talk about something bigger. For decades, Americans were told sending manufacturing jobs overseas was progress. I remember when Americans were told to learn to code. We were told globalization would make everyone better off. We were told entire industry disappearing was simply part of a changing economy. But many communities watch factories close, jobs disappear, wages gone, and opportunities shrink. Meanwhile, many of the people making those decisions became wealthier, more influential, and more disconnected from the everyday struggle and working Americans. That's one reason so many Americans feel forgotten. And hear me out. Let's be honest. This whole thing started back in the Obama years. And to be clear, some jobs came back and some jobs left. But many Americans watch manufacturing jobs continue to disappear from their communities. And remember what they told our kids: just learn to code. Young Americans were told that if they went to college, got a degree, and learned new skills, everything would work out. Instead, many graduated with massive student loan debt. They paid far more for college than many of those degrees were worth in the job market. Now, many of these graduates are struggling to find careers that justify the cost of their education. And what do we see? We see graduates coming out of college with fancy titles like diversity specialist, equality coordinators, inclusion consultant. Meanwhile, many of the manufacturing jobs that once supported middle-class families are gone. We have a president trying to bring that back. However, we have a bunch of Democrats that all they seem to do is complain without offering real solutions other than socialist. And then people wonder why so many young voters are becoming socialist. This, in my opinion, is the problem. But I think a lot of young people were sold a bill of goods. They were promised opportunities. They were promised success. They were promised the American dream. Instead, many found debt. Isn't that frustrated? And degrees that don't always lead to careers they expected. That's why so many Americans feel like the system failed them. And the politicians act surprised when people become angry, and they just use it to push the narrative of socialism, which is growing rapidly in our country. They act surprised, but no, there's no surprise here. We knew. Because the people that feel abandoned, ignored, and economically trapped, they start looking for someone to blame. Ding, ding, ding. This is why they are pissed off and they are completely gone to the left, meaning they're being used. But they don't know that. Everybody wants free stuff until you realize that you cannot tax enough to get it because people vote with their feet. That's exactly the kind of environment that creates political division, which let's accept that we are politically divided. In my opinion, none of this happened by accident. The people making these decisions were never the ones paying the price. Working families paid the price. Small towns paid the price. Manufacturing communities paid the price. Our leaders understood what happened to the working class of America. Why do so many working class communities still feel forgotten? And that brings us back to Jackson Park. Before the Obama President's Center, Jackson Park was one of Chicago's historic South Side treasures. It wasn't a vacant land. It wasn't an abandoned property. It was a public park, a park with lagoons, mature trees, walking path, open green space, recreational areas, and a history dating back more than a century. Jackson Park was originally designed by Frederick's Law Olmsted, a Calvin Vaux, as part of the Chicago South Park system in the late 1800s. Many historians recognize the park as the site of the 1893 World Columbian Exposition. For generations, family used this park. Children played here. Residents walked here. Communities gathered here. This was public land. And then they talk about stolen land. Then came the Obama Presidential Center. Reporters called it an investment in the South Side. Critics argue that historic public parkland was transformed into a monument dedicated to a formal president legacy. Now, before I say another word, I want you to look at these pictures. Look at the before Jackson Park and look at the after the construction. Take your time, study them. So there you have it. You look at it. Tell me what you see. But that is what they tell you because they need to brainwash you. This debate isn't really about what I think. It's about what you see with your own eyes. Doesn't this look like preserving a historic park? Or does it look like replacing part of one? I'll let you decide. Now let's talk about South Shore. Residents warned for years that development surrounding the project would increase property values, increase assessment, increase rent, and increase pressures on long-time residents. Many believed they were being asked to celebrate a project that could ultimately make it harder for them to remain in that community they called home. And then we have the contractors. I showed you a little tape of that. And this may be one of the most important part of this story. Several subcontractors publicly claimed they are still fighting over millions of dollars connected to the project. Some report severe financial hardship. Some say they're still trying to recover the money. Again, it's hypocrisy at its best. And who is accountable? I don't see Obama coming to their rescue. Now let's go back to the opening weekend. While politicians and celebrities celebrated its inside Chicago family were dealing with another violent weekend outside. 7 dead, dozen wounded, and families left behind to pick up the pieces. That's the contrast many people see. 2 very different realities. One big celebrated on television and the other being lived every single day. And that's why this episode isn't really about a building. It's about priorities. It's about public land. It's about taxes. It's about contractors. It's about crime. And it's about whether politician leaders should be judged by speech or by their results. Because after the speeches end, after celebrities leave, after the cameras disappear, the people of Chicago still have to live with their consequences. And for those who question it, this ain't going away anytime soon. I saw a lot of posts on Facebook. I saw a lot of things that pissed me off because I don't know what kind of place these people live and what kind of bubble they are in. I mean, the amount of people being killed is astonishing. And yet, they go and pat themselves on the back like they're doing a great job. And this man was absolutely the best president we ever had. I don't see it that way. And my parents voted for him twice. And they regret it every single day. Why will Latin people regret that? Because now we know that that was the beginning of the socialist movement. And what's the better way to do that? By tricking them into thinking, oh, you have to go to college in order to make yourself wealthy and you're going to be so good. Remember, learn how to code. Meanwhile, they were sending jobs overseas. It's really a disgusting thing, but it was all planned. Everything has been planned. I want to show you something here. Hold on. I follow this lady, and if you haven't, you probably should. Uh, and this is what she has to say about this. I'll put her links at the end.
We honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations.
But she didn't apologize to the current Southside residents for stealing a beautiful and historic public park. That land became Obama's scepter. She didn't apologize to the black contractors who worked on the center and got stiffed by Obama and now are in bankruptcy. Most of all, she didn't apologize to the American people for Barack Obama's attempt to steal and revise an entire 8 years of American presidential history. Now, every president since Herbert Hoover has donated their official records to the federal government. Their papers, their correspondence, their decisions.
What are they hiding?
Archives accessible to historians and researchers and made available by the archives to the American public. That's what's called a presidential library. But Obama's presidential records aren't even at his center. They're at the National Archives. And through a corrupt, sweetheart deal with the National Archives, Barack Obama and his foundation are determining what documents get digitized and when they get digitized or released. The day
I don't have to see anymore. I follow her. I suggest you do as well. I would put all these links at the end of my show in the description. What are they hiding? It is some shady shit. But if you love the Obamas, they will never, ever accept that this man is the Antichrist. Yes, I said it. If you don't like it, keep scrolling. In my opinion, he is the Antichrist. Sorry if you don't like it, but it's all by design. So I know my show was a little rushed today. I'm back from vacation. Actually, not the vacation that I really need because I need a beach in my life. But again, things happen. So we just took smaller ones, a lot of stuff going on. My son Greg is coming to visit me next week, and I am going to try bringing in a guest in my show. I'm going to try it with him, and he's a pretty cool individual, so I hope you like him. And that's who I'm going to try the 2-screen thing, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be nice to see him. I haven't seen him in a while. I'll probably go visit him in Arizona this year. I think I'm going to go visit a lot of family members. In any case, I'm also thinking of doing a show on the Fox River. Every time we hear about the Fox River, they found somebody dead. And I'm starting to think we have a serial killer. The latest victim here, let me get out of this one. Oh, I forgot to say, here in Chicago 5, take a look at what it says here. Residents, people that want to visit the library, says residents must present a current Illinois driver's license or state ID or Chicago city key card at the ticket desk to establish proof of residency, according to the Obama Foundation website. I'm sorry, weren't they the ones that said that ID is racist? Only for voting. So anyways, back to the Fox River. Here we have this girl, Denise Neon. Body was found on Sunday, June 21st, after she was last seen on Friday, June 19th. And guess where she was found? At the Fox River. So this is starting to pique my interest a little. My coworker has been mentioning it to me for, I want to say, a few months, if not a year. This has been happening for about a year. So I think I'm going to have to dig into that. But again, the news cycles move so quick that sometimes I get derailed. But this one I am going to start taking notes and I'm going to start making a plan because it's pretty fascinating for those true crime people. I want you to get involved in this one. I want to see what you can pull up because I'm eager to see what the hell is going on. Like Chicago or Illinois doesn't need any more drama. The taxes here are through the roof. This governor is a piece of shit. There's no other way of saying it. Everywhere you turn, he's taxing. Now he just out of nowhere. Nobody even knows if crypto is going to be a thing. Pritzker must know something because he already put a tax on crypto. I don't know what he knows, but he knows something. It is really bad here in Illinois. But with that said, like I said, I'm back. I wanted also on my girl talk today. I want to concentrate a little bit back on that. I've noticed, now that I am in videos and stuff like this, I've noticed that although I have very good genes, I mean, I'm not gorgeous, but I do have very good genes. I have high cheekbones and whatnot. And most of the time, I don't look my age. I have noticed that I have abandoned my neck. Obviously, I'm a sun-loving person. I'm a Caribbean. I'm a tropical bird. And maybe I just haven't been taking care of my neck as much as I should have. So I started doing that now, and I'm not getting paid by anybody. But I have a friend, my friend Trish, and she swears by this thing. It is called Terra Lotus. I don't know if I could show it. But anyways, there it is. Terra Lotus. And I'm going to start using that. And I've also been doing the Dr. Malaxing. I'm sure everybody has seen this Dr. Malaxing from every TikTok thing. But they have a good, and I want to say it's cement calcium volume cream that is, I can't be without it anymore. I love it. And then they have the under eye one for when we have those late nights and we look like a truck ran us over and I have those black bags under my eyes. So I got to tell you guys, I don't know what this Melaxicam people, Dr. Melaxing, Melaxin, have, but their dark spot cream is to die for. I have been using it every single day, probably for the past month since I got it. I love it so much that I already bought me another jar and I have it as a backup. So that is my girl talk. Take care of your neck if you're young because we forget about it. We always do our faces and we forget our necks. And I have noticed it in every video. We are our worst critic. And I could tell you, I don't care how beautiful or pretty you think I am. I don't see myself that way. But I appreciate the comments. So with that said, another thing, Substack, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, follow me. They all are under Barbie Unfiltered67. Because I'm thinking that after the summer, as we gear up for the midterms, I am going to do 2 shows a week. Because I've always been, what got me into this was the crime and the people we have lost to illegal immigrants. And as a legal immigrant myself, I thought if I brought the stories, they can't call me names. How dare you call me a racist? I'm a legal immigrant. So let me get this straight. You only like illegal. So therefore, I thought if I brought the stories, it would be better, or I would get less harassment than any white person bringing the story. So that was the beginning of my journey, and I have derailed because the news cycles move so fast. However, I have taken notes. There's a lot of people that have lost their lives to illegal immigrants that have not had the airtime that they deserve. I am a huge supporter of Title IX. I'm going to put the links in all my bios. Please sign the petition. I'm a huge supporter of the angel moms. I'm a huge supporter of the angel dads because most of these families are destroyed. And while people are at the Obama library tapping or, you're so good. Oh my God, this is the best day ever. There are parents losing family members and children by the hands of illegal immigrants. And I get it. Crime is crime. I had some lady that said, show me the proof. Instead, I showed her a video of all the faces that we have lost. And she still wants the proof. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm not here to change your mind. If you can see all the faces of the people that we have lost by the hands of illegal immigrants and you're still arguing it, you're lost. The propaganda has brainwashed you. And it won't matter unless your own family member is attacked or killed by an illegal immigrant. So with that said, have a blissful week and I'll see you next week. Thank you and I love you all.